Hey everybody, Dr. Jaime here, and you are about to listen to the Dr. Jaime Show audio experience. I hope you enjoy the tips and advice in this segment. Hey everyone, Dr. Jaime here with the Dr. Jaime Show. And if you are just joining us for the first time, welcome to the Dr. Jaime Show. This show is all about increasing likability, success, and happiness. If you already subscribed to the Dr. Jaime Show, thank you so much. And you might be wondering, where did all of Dr. Jaime's videos go? Never fear. Do me a favor. Go to my YouTube channel. You will see all of the videos right there for you. We have listened to what you have said, and we are going straight audio. So on Google Play and iTunes, we are streaming straight audio now. We are going to bump up to the top, y'all. We are doing this together. Keep us there. Go to iTunes and Google Play and review us, so we can keep having amazing shows like the one that we're having today with Nick Telford and Mike Bracciale. We are going to chat about the different ways to bring an idea to a viable product. These guys know what they're talking about. They are the owners of and the founders of Fly Mouthwash, flymouthwash.com. And have you ever sat there and had so many different ideas about things, you just don't even know where to begin? What is the first step? Where do I go? What do I do? Meanwhile, you're sitting there and you've got 100 more ideas that come into mind, and you just don't know how to take the first step. Today, Nick and Mike are going to share with us exactly how to take these steps and how to bring your product to life. Nick and Mike, welcome to the Dr. Jaime Show.
Hey, Dr. Jaime. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah. Yes,
we're super excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. I mean, you guys are young and you've done so much, and I love the enthusiasm and the passion. So Fly Mouthwash, in a quick, super nutshell, tell us what it is, and then we want to know how we can take our ideas, like you took yours, and actually make them into something viable.
Yeah, without a doubt. Quick, super nutshell, as you said. The basis of it is it's a concentrated mouthwash. So we took a big bottle of mouthwash and took out most of the water in it to make the formula super concentrated. So all you need to do is add a squirt to mouthwash into water, and it turns the water into mouthwash. So instead of using gum, instead of trying to bring a mouthwash bottle with you wherever you go, after that afternoon coffee now, you have a refreshment in your pocket at all times. All you need to do is add a squirt to about a sip of water.
I love it. Yes, as you say, you don't as you were talking and saying, you don't have to carry the whole bottle of mouthwash. I was just imagining me with my laptop and a full bottle of soap or something. It would be really awkward. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Very awkward.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm here. I got my bottle of mouthwash from my nasty breath.
Yeah.
And actually, I did a Dr. Jaime Show segment before on how to tell someone they have bad breath. So if any of the listeners out there, you know you have bad breath, or if someone has told you, you need to get this Fly Mouthwash ASAP.
Yep. There you go. You can just hand them a bottle. It's a subtle way to tell them that they may have some bad breath.
Or when they're not looking, you can spike their water. Just make sure they don't swallow it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. At one point, Fly Mouthwash was an idea.
Yeah.
How did you, and I guess kind of walk us through the steps so that we know for the ideas that we have, how did you turn it into a viable business? In about 3 different ways, what are sort of the steps that we need to take to turn our idea as well into something viable?
Yeah, for sure. So first step we like to say is, growing up, we had hundreds of ideas, and I'm sure everyone gets ideas every time, whether you're in the shower and you have that eureka moment, or you're mowing your lawn and something happens that, oh, I could do this better. But to realize that everyone has those ideas every day first puts you ahead of the game. So the first thing you need to do is actually write it down or sketch it out or take a next step immediately. We think a lot of ideas die, I would say most of them, because people have multiple ideas every day between the idea phase and the first next step phase. So to prevent that and to take action, if you think of the next Amazon or the next Netflix or something like that, where everyone thinks their next idea is the next big thing, at least write it down to begin with. Sketch it out, write down the concept, put something to paper or put something on your computer that establishes that you actually put some little bit of skin in the game, opposed to just keeping it in your head.
Well, I love that, and I think we're in such a society of go and rush that we've got these great ideas, but we forget them. I mean, I remember so many times, like during the day, I'll be like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. Oh, but it's such a great idea that I know I'm not going to forget it. By the time I get home, I absolutely forget the idea. So
Exactly.
So, okay. So step one, we need to write it down or kind of begin the sketching phase. Did you guys do this with Fly Mouthwash?
Yeah, we actually did. And it's dating back to 3 years ago. There's sketches in my workbook of the bottle of Fly, water, dots pointing into it. We had absolutely nothing. We didn't even hit Google yet. We didn't even go to research anything yet. We just drew out what the bottle looked like and how it would actually work just from our head to paper. And what that did is cement it in. Like you said, you can have an idea at lunchtime, and then 2 hours later you completely forget because you get bogged down with life. You have all the responsibilities that come with the day, your life, your job, your family, your friends, and you just forget certain things. If you just put the pen to paper, it just changes. It just makes a bunch of difference. We were going through our old photos actually recently, and they are hilarious, how they looked compared to how the product is today. But just us sketching it out over and over again gave us a good feel that we're actually pursuing this, and it's not just something we're talking about.
Okay, so now there's listeners out there, and they're like, okay, I got this. I can write this down. Fabulous. Does that make their idea now viable, or is there a step two to sort of make this more real?
So if it did make it viable, that would be great, Dr. Jaime, because then everyone would become Picassos at sketching out their idea. But I'm going to have Mike take step two and what we did to take it even further after that.
Hi, Dr. Jaime. So after we got our idea down on paper, we wanted to research what was out there, learn the ins and outs of the mouthwash market, for instance, in our case. So we started Googling different products, whether it was gum or mints or mouthwashes to breath sprays. Really wanted to get the full landscape of what was out there to see if, one, if your product would fit into this landscape, and two, if you have any sort of competitive advantage looking at it from the outside in before you dive into that. And we thought we did. We thought gum and mints didn't necessarily, offer that effectiveness, and mouthwash wasn't portable, so we tried to combine the two. With that research, we started asking friends and family, sharing our idea with them, and kind of getting their feedback. We didn't have a product yet. We didn't have anything for them to sample, but just talking back and forth with people that we trusted enabled us to get an idea that, maybe this is a good idea. Maybe we should pursue forward and try something. So the research part of it was a long phase, but we do feel like we know the industry so well now that that is certainly step number two.
Okay, I love it, and I want to take a minute to talk about this section. So the first thing is, when I was writing my dissertation, so I had to first do research, and my mentors would say to me, Jaime, you have to look for a gap in the knowledge base. So where do you see all of this information, but wait a minute, there's a space here, and then I would have to take that space and fill it with research. Is it similar to what you guys did? Were you looking at the market? Do people have to look at the market, I guess, and say, oh, this is missing, or can they put something in that's already there? What's your take on it?
So you're saying in terms of if there's a product out there, can they put something out that's similar?
Yeah, should they?
You can, but you need something to differentiate yourself, because once a brand, once a consumer has something that they like, it's very, very difficult to get them off of that. Some people that may love Listerine, we're not trying to convert them to be non-Listerine users. That big bottle may stay in their house until the end of time. However, we saw that people were only using mouthwash the first 2 hours upon waking and about 2 hours before going to bed. There was a huge segment throughout the day that no one was targeting specifically mouthwash use, and that's because there was a flaw in the overall setup of it. So we kind of redesigned the bottle, how you would use it, and now you have the chance to use it all throughout the day, something our competitors don't necessarily offer in a convenient or cost-effective manner.
Okay, all right. And then so also in the research phase, you talked about you guys Googled, you talked to people that you trust, friends, probably parents, family. Did you guys run it by any people that could be investors or people that might not, was there anyone else? I guess because I'm trying to think of the people that are listening. They run it by mom and dad who are like, yes, it's great because mom and dad are always on our team. And then we run it by our friends, and our friends are like, yeah, man, that's cool. But is there anyone else that we should run it by during this research phase?
Yeah, that's actually one of the hardest things is trying to tell your friends and family to be objective when listening to your ideas, because it can be negative and it can hurt your motivation of the idea. Because, if you're a true friend to someone, it's kind of hard to say, hey, no, that idea is really that's not very good, and tell them that to their face. So go to your friends and family, you're going to have a kind of soft approach from them. They're going to want to pump you up. But some of our best conversations were when we took it to outside people who had no emotional value connected to us as people, just to our idea. So taking it to someone like an investor or if you have any kind of business mentor in your life, or of someone of a connection that's not really your friend, you're more so just acquaintances, and you say, hey, can you sit down? Can we have a 15-minute phone call about this idea? Someone who's possibly done it before, where they can give you objective advice, where they're not giving you advice off of you, the person, but giving you advice off the idea alone. Because you don't want to run down a path that's not going to be successful and your idea is not going to come to fruition. You want to make sure you're putting in your time and effort into something that can actually be viable, can actually work in the end. And sometimes you can only get those opinions from strangers, investors, or people who don't really care to hurt your feelings, to say it frank. They just want to tell you if the idea is right and if it could actually work.
Okay, and then my last question for you in this research area is, how long should this phase be, or should people anticipate? Because I could see people being like, oh my God, I'll call mom and dad today, I'll talk to my 3 best friends, I'll call my mentor, I'll do a quick Google search, fabulous. By tonight at 5 o'clock, I'm ready to run this product. No.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's longer than an 8-hour period on a random Wednesday. How long is it?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely longer than that. I would say if you could take one day just to start on a Google search, that would be just that initial Google search. Let's see if anything else is out there. Let's go through the market. Let's go through a little. But then you have to continue that we went probably a few months of looking at different things, trying different products, seeing what different market fits there were before we even took an actionable step on trying to create the formula or trying that first thing. We order different products. Don't be afraid to order the competitors. Hold them in your hand. If you're doing a consumer product, see what's actually wrong with them. See what you could fix. Look around at the comments that you get, that your competitors get on ads, their Facebook pages, how they're marketing, and then look at what red tape you have to break and cross to actually get into that industry. Starting in oral care, we didn't think it was much at first, but that was incredibly naive, because we're putting a product in someone's mouth. We have to deal with manufacturing. We have to deal with chemists. We have to deal with minimum orders. And it was all this red tape that we found along the way through research that we obviously could not have found out in a day, a week, or even a month. So there's no one direct answer to that question. It just depends on what market your listeners are going into. But you'll be able to figure that along the way as long as you stick to the research and ordering. And it could be sometimes you're lucky, maybe a week, and you said, hey, I can get into this. Even if it's a T-shirt, you can start a T-shirt business in a couple of days if you really think that's your niche. But others can take months and even years. So it varies across industries, and it all just starts with doing the research on your own.
I love it. That was well said, and I absolutely love how you talked about ordering your competitor's product, reading reviews, what's missing from them, what do people like about them, what don't people like about them. I think that was great. Okay, so now we've written the idea down and sort of got a sketch going. We've researched the market. Maybe we're 3, 4, 5 months into this research process. What is the final step to take this product to something viable from an idea?
Yeah, so I wanted to preface this by saying don't just jump into it immediately. Even after you're doing the research and everything, always make sure you have your priority one, whether it be your day job or if you're still in school classes. For me, I was still taking classes for a full year after we were trying to work on this. And for me, school always came one, idea came number 2. So in the nights, maybe early in the morning, in my free time, work on it. And Mike worked a job in physician recruiting from 9 to 5 and would only have times maybe on his lunch breaks or after he got out of the office to work on this. So to preface it, don't just drop everything because if it goes wrong, then now you don't have a backup. So what we did is we made sure we set up those stabilities in our life with job and school. And then when we weren't working on that, we worked on this for the year. So throughout that year, we tried to determine, okay, is this something we can do full time? So that's really the next step of thinking in your head. You have the research, you figured out this idea. Now you're thinking, okay, can I make this my full-time thing? Because that's the only way it's really going to work. So over that time, we had to recruit people who didn't have the skills that we had. That would be the next thing you're actually looking for. So try to identify in yourself what you bring to the table. We brought separate things to the table for each of us, but we know that we didn't have any knowledge on manufacturing and how to actually create a product from scratch. So what we did is we got out and we found a person who had manufacturer relations, who knew how to source bottles, how to source different chemicals, different employees to work on it, and things like that, so we could actually have our manufacturing run, which is something we've never done before. And then we also went out and got someone on our team who had retail relations. We've never tried to bring a product to retail. We knew we'd probably be weak in that area to start. So we went out and got someone to join our team for that. In doing that, your listeners will be able to form a little bit of a team that they have and try to get people to work on their idea who have skills that they don't, whether it be for sweat equity, whether it be if they can afford to pay them at all, or if they can just convince them that their idea is so great that it will benefit them in the future if they stick around now. Being able to tell your story as an entrepreneur like that and convince other people that you're taking them the right path is huge in trying to recruit your initial team members.
Absolutely, especially if you don't have a ton of funds to start with. But you hit on a couple of things. One, when I talk about, people ask me, why are you successful? Tell us some things. And one of them is I used to, but I don't anymore, try to be a jack of all trades. And as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking, if you are going into the Fly Mouthwash business, you don't want to also be a manufacturer and a person that brings a product to retail. Like, don't try to be something you're not. You can put in a lot of research, but the people that have been in manufacturing have done much more than research. Some of them have 25, 30, 40, 50 years behind them in this industry. Use their knowledge for sure. So definitely, I do think that that's part of the research phase one is finding a great manufacturer, someone that can bring products to retail for you. But you've got to be honest with yourself, recognize you can't do it all, and be willing to seek out support and help. And you need that in order to grow your business. So
exactly, yeah. Our first formulation was actually in my kitchen when Mike and I were throwing together ingredients. Just from research online and think, hey, we can make this ourselves. And then after a week of that, we realized there would be no chance we make this ourselves unless you give us 5 years. So we went and had to go find a chemist. Yeah, we just said, okay, let's go find a chemist. So, I mean, you can try them, but once you realize that maybe this isn't your forte, this isn't your wheelhouse, go out and try to get someone. And once you think you have that initial core team, or even if it's just yourself and you can do it yourself, then you go ahead and put a little money in and actually start trying to pursue your idea. But up until that point, I would say try to avoid the risk of jumping all in with your idea.
Yeah, and I think anyone, even if you decide you're going to open your own business, whatever it is, do both jobs at once for a while. It's not going to be easy at the beginning of owning your own company, the entrepreneurial roller coaster. We've heard it 100 times, but you have to wake up a few hours early and go to bed a few hours late and work on weekends for the first year or two because you want to make sure it's a viable business. Because if you do go all in, especially if you have a family or kids and they need health insurance and all these things that come along with it, you need to be on a little bit steady ground. It's always a roller coaster in entrepreneurship, but you also need to be, savvy and think things through because you don't want to dump everything you've worked for into something that maybe you haven't even really researched and then you lose it all. That's very discouraging. So I love these steps, guys. We need to write the idea down if you've got one. We need to research the market, and that doesn't happen in an 8-hour period. You need to take time, weeks, months. Some products take years for research. And then the last idea is to sort of seek out support and recruit people where there might be a deficit in something that you can't do, and you need a little bit of help in that area. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on the Dr. Jaime Show today.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been so much fun.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime. Pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, you are listening to the Dr. Jaime Show. We had on Nick and Mike today. They are the owners of Fly Mouthwash. FlyMouthwash.com. Give it a try. Support them, and don't have stank breath. No one likes that. And if you do, you can listen to my Dr. Jaime audio on how to tell someone that they have a stank breath.
Exactly. Let them know.
Let them know. Do me a favor, everyone. Go to iTunes, Google Play, review and subscribe to the Dr. Jaime Show. Every like, every follow keeps this show growing, keeps it developing. If you're looking for the videos and you're wondering where did the videos go, we've streamed all on audio now, but you can go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and get all the latest videos right there. Have a fabulous day, and if you have stank breath, go to FlyMouthwash.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the Dr. Jaime Show audio experience. I really hope that you enjoyed the tips and advice given on today's segment. Do me a favor and go to iTunes and my YouTube, and please subscribe to that channel. Every subscribe, every like, every follow helps the Dr. Jaime Show grow so that we can bring you the best guest and the best content possible. And of course, as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to leave that as well. Talk to you soon.